You think everyone's so sweet, is it?
Huh?
So you think everyone's so sweet.
They're female.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
No, she's a great, great person. She runs. Remember Quentin's uncle Charlie and David?
That was his uncle.
Yeah.
Charlie? He's our age, right? Charlie, you the one that's our
There's no
age?
hearing notice. I don't know if you
Charlie
want to
did.
read
Both ones.
I'm
the
going
letter
to.
into
He
the
died
record.
like 12 years ago in California. Yeah, he died. He was making a dive and he was a police officer.
Yeah, he was in a lot of stuff.
Well, that's his
Do you know him? He's a lot older than you.
Yeah.
Dad's probably your dad.
Yeah.
Charlie or the,
Generation.
the blonde head? Holy.
I remember him when I was a kid. I remember him being involved.
Charlie's the one who passed?
I can remember him doing the
That's-
Flight of
that's his
55.
brother.
He was a civil
Oh, you
defense
think so?
director back then. And he was good at it. He was good
Yeah.
at it.
Okay. All ready?
Go ahead. Being the hour of 7 o'clock, we'll open the Selectmen's Meeting of July 9th, 2013. Before I go into the agenda, I would like to request a moment of silence for an individual who has dedicated many, many years of service to the town of Oxford, who just recently passed, and that is Walter Wehinkle. Walter had served the town in a number of capacities. He was on the 275th Anniversary Committee. He was a special agent for the Board of Health. He served on the Charles Line Entertainment Fund. He was the town's Civil Defense Director. He was a police officer. He was the plumbing assistant. He also served on the Radio Supervision Committee. He was the sewerage inspector, and he was the Assistant Special Agent to the Board of Health. He served, as you can see, in many different capacities in the town. So for that, I will ask for a moment of silence. Thank you. The first item on the agenda is a public hearing in regards to a dog complaint, and I'm going to read the letter of hearing that was sent to Mr. Quentin P. Burnett of 8 Patton Street regarding a vicious dog complaint hearing scheduled for today, July 11th at 7 p.m. Pursuant to Chapter 140, Section 157 of the Mass General Laws pertaining to dogs, the Oxford Board of Selectmen will hold a hearing Tuesday, July 9th, 2013, at 7 p.m. in the Selectmen's Meeting Room on the second floor of the Town Hall, located at 325 Main Street, Oxford, to address complaints of vicious or barking dogs and other disturbances filed by Miss Peggy Pavone and Mr. Mark Gray. This complaint is outlined on the enclosed complaint form and attachments and is relative to a dog named Cooper that is harbored by you. Your presence is required at the hearing to address this complaint. The Board of Selectmen may make a determination at that time as to any disposition regarding this matter. You have the right to have your attorney present and to appeal any decision made by the Board of Selectmen at the Dudley District Court within 10 days from the date of this hearing. So, with that being read into the record, I would like to state that Mr. Quentin B. Burnett was mailed this notice by regular mail. He was also mailed this notice by certified return receipt mail. He did not respond.
I'm here.
You here? Thank you. Let the record show that he, even though he did not respond to the certified mail, he is present at this time. At this time, I'd like the animal control officer to come forward. No,
Sit right down.
Sit right down.
Sit right down. Got a nice little microphone there.
Okay. What I would like you to do, if you would, is to read into the record the complaints that you have received, and then any comments that you may have.
Okay. The first complaint that I received was from Postmaster John Hester called me in regard to one of his mail carriers, Mark Gray, being attacked by the dog. Mark was across the street at the neighbor's house. It's like a diagonally across the street from 8 Patton Road, at 8 Patton Street, I should say. And the dog charged across the road and was attacking him. And fortunately, he had his mail bag that he was protecting himself with. And his neighbors, Tom and, I'm sorry, the neighbors of Quentin, let him in their house. They let him in and shut the door so that the dog got off of him. And I believe that Quentin called the dog back, and the dog went back to the house. The people said that, I'm sorry, let me just make sure I get the right name here. So it was Tom and Doreen Arella from 9 Patton Street. They said that the dog was growling and leaping on him, and it was pretty frightening. Then, months later, I received a call from the Oxford PD so March 10th, 2013, I received a call from the Oxford Police Department that a woman named Peggy Pavoni had been bitten by a dog at the Route 12 variety store. I called Peggy, and she told me that she had gone to the variety store with her daughter, and they saw a beautiful dog in an SUV in the parking lot. They met the dog's owner in the store, and he asked Peggy and her daughter if they wanted to meet the dog. Peggy said that when the owner let the dog out of the SUV, the dog immediately jumped up and bit her in the face. She said that she proceeded to go back into the store and get something to wipe the blood off her face, and she said that the dog owner came into the store to ask if she was okay, but then he left before she got his name. So the store clerk gave her a name of, she wasn't sure if it was like Clinton Burnett or something very close to Quentin Brunette. So when she described the dog and the vehicle and the name, I recognized that from the Mark's incident. So I called Mr. Brunette the next day, and he did immediately say, geez, you know, I'm sorry. He felt bad that his dog bit the lady, and he said he was going to get a muzzle for him. And he said it wasn't until they got him fixed that he started doing this, that he wasn't aggressive before that. Then, after that, I checked back in the police records to see if there were any other cases. And there was a gentleman on Mr. Brunette's street that was bitten by Cooper. And that was, let me just double check. On May 5th, 2012, at 11:16, there was a bite reported to the Oxford Police Department by Mr. Peter Ensom from 3 Patton Street. On March 18th, I went to Mr. Ensom's house and spoke to him, and he told me that he was walking down Patton Street and that Cooper was loose in the front yard of 8 Patton, and he was barking at him, and as he walked past the house, the dog came up and bit him in the back of his leg. So that was 3 incidences that I know of with the dog.
Okay, thank you. Now, this is a public hearing, and we are required by law to, if you are going to testify, that you have to be sworn. You have to give your name, your address, and you will raise your right hand, and we will swear you in. So is there anyone here who is going to testify at this hearing? Would you stand and give your name?
Quentin Burnett, 8 Patton Street.
Okay. I'm going to do this all at once. Are you going to speak as well? You can stand up. Who else is going to be testifying? Would you please stand? Okay.
Mark Ray.
Okay, we'll start with you. Mark, do you swear that whatever you testify to at this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Also, your name?
Peggy Pavoni?
Do you also?
I do.
Do you also?
Everett Magson, I do.
I do.
And dog officer.
Kelly Flynn, and I do swear that.
Thank you. Okay. We're going to ask the first complainant to come forward. And that's Mrs., is that
Pavoni,
Pavoni? Pavoni, is that you? Okay.
should I go back?
You can stay there if you want. Okay, would you, in your own words, tell us your experience?
Yeah, I went to the Route 212 variety store with my daughter, who was 5 at the time. As we were walking into a store, an SUV pulled in, and there were dogs in the vehicle, and my daughter asked the owner when he came in, you know, what kind of dogs. So he said that he had a big dog and a small dog, and they were both friendly, and asked if she wanted to see them. So we all went out of the store together and walked over to the vehicle. I was standing next to the car, and she was standing a little bit behind me on the right side. Quentin opened the door, the dog jumped out and immediately jumped up and bit me in the face. You know, I wiped it, saw that there was blood, I went back into the store, and he also followed me and asked if I was okay. And then he left without giving his name, any identification or anything. So that's kind of what irritated me about the whole thing. You know, I didn't know so I went to the police department, and the officer actually suggested that I have a rabies shot. I mean, a tetanus shot. So I followed up with my doctor the next day, and at that point, I didn't know if the dog was up to date, and they wanted me to go through a series of rabies shots. While at the doctor's office, I got in touch with Kelly, and she was actually able to get in touch with Quentin, or the homeowner, who advised that that the dog was up to date on its shots. So basically, that was it.
Okay. Is there
I
anything
have
else?
a couple of pictures from the bite, if
Or you can present that as evidence if you have it.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Can I ask Ms. Pavoni one question?
Yeah, she comes back. Okay, I'll open it up to the board if they have any questions of Mrs. Pavoni. Yes?
Hi.
Hi.
When he jumped up, did he do it in a vicious manner? Was it kind of like he was playing, or
No, it was
Did it
vicious.
seem aggressive?
it was,
Seem
it
aggressive to
seemed,
you?
it seemed as though he was trying to protect the car or maybe his owner or something.
Okay.
I mean, you know, again, it's not that it was a bad bite or anything. The fact that it happened, it could have been my daughter, and the dog, you know, obviously outweighed her, and if it was her, he would have had total control. I'm sure she would have been knocked to the ground, and, you know, but I think the thing that he left without giving any, you know, any information at all.
Now, I'm sorry if I missed this earlier, but how did the attack stop? Was it just this jumped up, he bit, and then he went away?
Quentin called
or-
him back in the car.
Quentin, did you feel if Quentin wasn't there, do you feel as though you had been attacked further by this dog?
Possibly, yeah.
Any other questions by board members?
That's all I got.
I'm
Okay,
glad you're not her.
Thank you.
at this point, we'll ask the other complainant to come forward. Is Mr. Gray?
Hi, I'm Mark Gray, litter carrier in Oxford, and that's my area that I service every day. And I knew about the dog. I know a lot of times he's in the house. Most of the time he's in the house barking at me. With the mailbox is up at the house. Now we've moved it down to the street, so I don't have to go up to the house. But on this particular day, I was over at 9 Patton Street. I saw him, and I just said, okay, maybe he doesn't see me. I didn't know Quentin was outside at the time. I just saw the dog. When he turned and saw me, he instantly just bolted right across the street. Now, I have a spray and I have my bag. And normally, I don't like to use a spray because sometimes the wind direction, I'll end up getting it in my eyes. So I usually just try to get the bag and see how aggressive this dog is. So I'll just kind of wave my bag, I'll shout at him. But this guy was aggressive. His hair was up, his teeth were ground. And I kept backing and backing and backing. I ended up backing up to the stairs. And at that point, Doreen, who lives at 9, opened her door and says, "Ma, get in." So I says, "Okay, hold the door." Because if I turned, I was going to lose where he is. So I said, "Just hold the door until I back up." And I just backed up the stairs with the bag, and I jumped in her house. And at that point, once I was in the house, Quentin, I think, was about in the middle of the street between 8 and 9. He called over to Cooper, and Cooper turned around and he ran over to Quentin. I was already in the house at that time. And I saw Quentin take him and put him in the house. So then I just finished my rounds. I think I made a phone call. But without the bag or spray, I don't know. If Doreen wasn't home, I don't know what would happen. But he was not going to back down.
Board members have questions? Yes, Mr. Lamarche.
Mr. Gray, was there a leash on this? Was, like any sort of a chain or a leash on this dog? Can you remember? I mean, is this something he broke loose,
No, I
or
don't
he
think
was
he
just,
broke loose or anything. I think he just happened to be,
so he was loose in the neighborhood?
could be. I don't recall any
Don't
leash
recall
being
that.
dragging along the street when he was running at me, no.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Mr. Vos?
Mr. Gray, how often did you see the dog loose in the neighborhood? I mean, was it once a week, or, this is your regular route, right?
Right.
We're talking about? You see him once a week, once a month, once every 6 months? Is it-
No. That was the first time. If he's loose, Quentin usually keeps him in the back of the yard.
See,
It's fenced in.
It's fencing, so he doesn't get out
It just happened to be that day he was out in the
just
front
that
yard.
one time. And
Right.
have you had any previous encounters with this animal?
No.
No.
If there's a case like that where I kind of sense that the dog is not a friendly dog, I don't deliver the mail.
All right.
I just shut the whole street down
Right.
and just
Now-
say I can't deliver the mail, this dog is loose.
What do you think, or, I don't know, what do you think would have happened if you weren't allowed to go into 9 Patton Street? What do you think would have happened? Do you
Well, I
you
think
would've-
since the owner was there, eventually Quentin probably would have been able to come over there and get him. If there was nobody around, I don't know. Because he was pretty, he wanted a piece of me.
Yeah,
He was,
would you describe the dog as aggressive?
absolutely,
Very aggressive?
yeah.
Okay. That's all I got.
Okay, anyone else? Okay, thank you. Quentin?
All right. So start with the mailman. My dog is a friendly dog. He's not really aggressive. 99% of the population, he is fine. Every day he watches the mailman come up to the house. I had the mailbox next to the door. He sees him come up and he barked at him. And this one particular day, me and my fiance were coming back from errands. I didn't see the mailman across the street. I opened the door and the dog jumped out of the truck. And he ran across the street. I called him back and he came. And I felt bad, but he didn't bite him. He looked vicious, but I got him back and I moved the mailbox from the side of the house down to the end of the driveway. And the lady at the convenience store, that was my fault. Cooper got out, he jumped. To my knowledge, he didn't bite her. He jumped up and he scratched her with his claw. It looked like more of a scratch. I went back in, I seen a little bit of blood. I asked her if she was okay, and I was wrong to leave. I'll admit that, but I thought it was only a scratch. And I only seen a drop of blood. And as far as the dog, he's not vicious. He's a friendly dog. Our house is like Grand Central. We have teenagers. I have a 6-year-old daughter. We have an 8-year-old son. There's people coming in and out of the house all day long. And the dog doesn't bother anybody. These few incidences are odd, but I got my backyard fence in. The dog doesn't go out anymore. I've gave him strict discipline, and he's not a danger at all. He is not a mean dog.
Board members? Yes.
Chair, you have a metal fence or the wooden fence?
I have a 5-foot metal chain link fence.
Has he ever jumped over the fence?
Never.
Okay. Mr. Vos?
Mr. Burnett, we sent you a registered letter and you didn't respond. Why didn't you respond to the registered letter?
I had already gotten the one from the town hall, and I didn't respond because I already know I had to come.
All right, right.
I'm sorry, I didn't know it was a need-be response.
this-
I'm sorry.
There's 3 incidents on record, and if there's 3, you know, there could have been 4 or 5 or 6 all day. How often does your dog get loose?
Never, never. He's always with me.
Well, not never, because we have 3
Well,
cases
the
here
first
where-
time with the mailman, I was in Connecticut at my daughter's t-ball game. My fiance was with me, and the teenagers had friends over. And when the teenagers got up to leave, one of their friends let him out. The dog was outside,
Right.
and there was no one home at all. He knew I wasn't there. He knew my fiance wasn't there, and I don't know which one of the teenagers' friends let him out, but I had no control over that. And I got the call, and I rushed back. Came back from again. I was back even before the police left or anything wound down.
So how big is this animal? Is it a good size?
He's a good size. He's 100 pounds.
He's a 100-pound dog. So he's a big animal. So just by, you know, the nature of his size, he
Yes,
can do
he's
some
very
damage.
intimidating.
Now I have a big dog. He's a 100-pound golden retriever, and I had a similar incident where he you know, he liked to roam the neighborhood. John Hester knows he's my neighbor, but he's a very friendly dog, and he's not a biter or a jumper. And but there was one neighbor who didn't like the fact that. So what I did is I put electric fence in. My dog never leaves my yard now, but there was a problem there, and I took action and I took care of it. And my dog's not an aggressive dog, not a violent dog. You have 3, you know, you had 2 instances where this has happened, and yet your dog get away from you again. What would happen to a young child, say it's a 2 or 3-year-old child, and you're not there right at the moment, and this dog is jumping on him and biting him? What's going to happen to
In
that
my
young?
experience, this dog loves children. There's children in and out of the house all the time. He's never even come close to snarling, biting, growling, getting aggressive for any child. He's like a big nanny.
No, I understand what you're saying. You love your dog, obviously. I'm not.
When at the convenience store, her daughter was right there at my dog's face level. He didn't move toward her. He didn't jump at her. He did jump, and I had his collar the whole time. And I'm 99.9% positive it was only his claw that got her. He did not bite her.
Now, are you the only person in your family that walks your dog?
That walks my dog, yes.
Yeah, because obviously you need to be a big, strong person to control his dog. Your wife's not walking your dog, your kids aren't.
My 6-year-old daughter walks him, and he doesn't pull her at all. I'm right there, obviously, but
Yeah,
he doesn't.
I think-
He's not a mean dog.
I understand that. I understand he's not. I don't understand that, but even if he's not a mean dog, just a 100-pound dog being very friendly and in what he may think is playing, you know, it could be very damaging to someone, especially a young child, you know, 2, 3-year-old child. God forbid you're not around someday and your dog gets out and maims someone, kills someone. You're going to put, you know, it's going to be a terrible thing for you and that child. So moving forward, I don't know what the board's going to decide, but you're going to be a heck of a lot more careful with your dog.
I
heck of a
I
lot.
am. He's been
I
on a strict
understand you.
regimen.
This is what scares me, though. You keep telling me he's a friendly dog. He's not an aggressive dog. He's a controllable dog. But we've had 3 incidences here, and it took 3 times for this to happen for hopefully some action. That you know, something. You know, you're going to take some action here, hopefully. But it scares me because as a board, whatever action we take here today is, you know, we're all going to be on the hook, not just you. It's going to be all of us here. So, you know, I hear what you're saying. You keep saying he's not an aggressive dog. He's not going to hurt anyone, and that scares me more than anything, to be quite honest with you. So, yeah.
Yes.
I-
Mr. Berthew?
Yes. How long have you had the dog?
He's 3 years old.
You had him from a puppy?
Yes.
you have any questions, concerns?
Yeah, I was just, which incidents were you talking about when you said you and your fiance came back from errands and he jumped out of the truck?
That was the mailman. We opened the door to get out, and he seen the mailman. He sees the mailman every day. And he just got excited, and he took off before I had a chance to grab him.
And which was the incidents where one of the teenagers accidentally let him out of the house? when
That
you
was
were at
when
a-
my fiance and I were in Putnam, Connecticut for my daughter's t-ball game.
And who did the dog attack at that?
He bit my neighbor. He bit him in the
That's
back
when
of the
you-
leg. He
okay.
was walking by my front yard.
Okay. As far as like, like you said, there's 3 different instances where something's happened. Do you see, he's overprotective of the vehicle, he's protective of your property, or is it,
I think it was just a little protective, but he's never out anymore. He's on a strict regimen. Everyone in the house knows. I put a beware of the dog sign. I'd like to think it's never going to happen, but we keep him in the house. He's locked up, and he just doesn't go out anymore. And I also put him on a strict discipline where he's calmed down a lot.
And as far as a muzzle, I noticed in one of the reports you said you were gonna muzzle him? or
He owns a muzzle, yep.
Not, how often is he
Whenever I
wearing it?
bring him for a walk. But that's about it.
Mr. Vos and then Mr. Berthium. Mr. Vos?
Do you ever go on vacation, Mr. Burnett?
Do I ever go on vacation? Yes.
What do you do with your dog when you go on vacation?
We usually take him with us.
Usually take him with you. Is there ever a case where you leave him at home with other family members?
If I had to, I would probably leave him with my sister or my mother, but we usually take him.
Is your dog allowed to be boarded? Have it boarded your dog?
Have I ever boarded him?
Yeah. Sit, go to one of these kennels now. They have
Nope.
these fancy doggy hotels, all 9 yards. So you've never attempted to board him?
No.
In moving forward, when you go on vacation, are you going to leave him at your sister's house?
Yes.
Is your sister physically able?
Oh,
able?
yes.
And does
My
your sister,
sister's a lot bigger than I am. Alan knows my sister.
does your sister
Stacy.
live in the town of Oxford?
Worcester.
Okay. Well, I hate to see you in front of the Worcester City Council someday, but that's all I have, John.
Mr. Berthium?
Like you said, though, maybe one of the teenagers let him out. Can you maybe put like a fence, like electronic fence maybe around your property?
We're discussing that. If he makes it through tonight, we're gonna put up an electronic fence. But we weren't gonna make the investment.
Right.
I'm afraid I'm gonna lose my dog. And he's not a bad dog.
But you said you will. If we vote in order for you to keep you, you will put up the.
Oh, yes,
fence.
absolutely.
Mr. Lamarche and then Mr. Mahota?
Thank you, Mr. Burnett. This is very difficult for us. One of the things being on this board that, is just, is very tough. I mean, we've got 2 people here that have come forward, told the truth in their version that, one was almost attacked and one was. We have another one, your neighbor that was bitten.
My neighbor knows my dog's not
You know.
vicious, which is why he's not here.
It's still it's a real tough call for us, Anybody on this board probably knows that I'm as much of a animal lover as just about anybody. So, but we have to do something. Something has to be done because, like Selectman Vo said, God forbid he would accidentally get out again by one of your children. And there's a small child in the neighborhood. It could be quite deadly, if not, very, very serious an injury. So I don't know what this board is going to do. I know in the back of my mind what I'd like to do. And I just hope that you can work with us, if that's what the board decides to do. So
I'll do anything I can.
thank you.
Mahota?
Have you ever had any problems with any dogs in the past that you've had
No.
previously? You've never had any dog complaints? And
No.
a lot of times you find that it's more owner training that needs to be done rather than dog training. The way you handle a dog, the way you treat a dog, the way you discipline a dog, it can really make a change on how they react to different people in different situations. I'm just,
Never had a problem with any of my dogs. Grew up on a farm. We had more than a few.
Okay, thank you. I have a couple of comments to make at this point. You said that you've never had a problem there before with dogs.
Nope.
I thought that going through the records that I had seen back, I believe it was in 2005, there was a situation with dogs running loose. Do you have a golden retriever or a
It
lab or
was my
something?
fiance's golden retriever, and he got loose and he was running. He never bit anybody,
But
but
he was-
we ended up getting rid of him.
Yeah,
because
we
of
had
the
complaints back then about the dog, several complaints.
That was
as a
when I
matter of fact.
first met her. That was lucky.
Okay. But I just wanted to clarify the fact, because you said that there were never any problems with dogs.
I thought he was talking about biting or mean or aggressiveness.
No, the animal control officer was there several times regarding a previous dog under your care property. My feeling is, when I look at this, I look at the incidents involved. In both of those incidents, the complainants that came forward, both of those attacks were unprovoked. I mean, these people were just doing the normal course of being around, and all of a sudden, they're attacked by a dog. In my estimation, that is considered a dangerous situation, therefore a dangerous dog. So this board is going to have to take some action to correct it. I certainly don't want to be the one to suggest that the dog be euthanized. That's not me. I've had dogs all my life, and I can understand your feelings towards your animal. But I also have to be concerned about the individuals that are victimized by a dog. So there has to be a balance here, okay, between both sides. And I'm hoping that something can be worked out where this board could vote to satisfy the complainants and to also satisfy you as a dog owner. I'm just giving you a sense of where I'm coming from on this. And now I'm going to ask if there's anyone else that wants to speak. The gentleman that was sworn in,
Correct.
No.
This gentleman's looking to speak as well.
I don't, were you sworn in, Mr. Hester?
No.
Okay, would you raise your hand, swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God? Okay?
Postmaster John Hester, 2B Faithway.
Okay, could you come forward and use this microphone?
Sure. I wasn't going to say anything, but, because I wanted to see how this was going, but last summer I was delivering mail, personally, and that dog came after me, and the whole family was sit outside in the lawn. And he called, who, I don't know, couldn't recognize. I was scared to death of this dog, and I was across the street, okay, on the other side. And he came charging. And somebody over there called him back, and I'm yelling, get your dog, get your dog. So it's not like the first time this dog has been out. He was out when I was delivering, and scared the hell out of me. So I just want to make that. And the other thing that people don't realize, and I'll just share this with you. If that dog, any dog in Oxford bites a carrier, those homeowners pay the price for that. All the medical, they have to pay any damaging or disfiguring of that carrier, and their insurance, I guarantee you, will look a little different the next time. The post office does not pay for dog bites, period. So if that dog had bitten Mark, he would be liable for that, and his insurance wouldn't be too happy with it either. And when we used to deliver to the house, that dog would hit that window at about 90 miles an hour, and you swear to God he was coming through it. He's not a nice dog. I live with a dog that's a big dog, and that dog loves you, jumps, kisses you, and does everything to you. That is a different dog than that dog. That is a vicious dog, and if he get out, somebody's going to get hurt. That's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman,
Okay, do you have a question for
Why
him?
Mr. Hess is up there, I just want to ask him one
Mr.
more
Hess, could you
question.
come back?
Mr. Hester, you had that one incident with this dog where he got loose. Was that the only time that?
That was the only time.
And I know you're not a regular carrier, you fill in, so
Fill in, yeah.
it isn't like John is the regular carrier in this neighborhood. He, on occasion, maybe once a year, you carry in this neighborhood?
It's, a few times, but
A few
not
times
much.
a year, so out of the few times that you've carried there,
This
This
was,
dog-
this was in the summer that
This,
that
this
happened.
this dog got loose.
Right, he was loose, he was outside, I don't know what they were doing. There's a
Right.
whole bunch of people sitting in the front yard.
Clearly, this isn't the type of dog that should be loose. I mean, he should
And
be.
he's not. I don't remember.
I don't want the dog to get killed either, I don't want any dog
I
to
don't
get killed,
recall
but
this
I don't want,
incident at
Okay,
all.
please,
it doesn't have
please,
to.
you're gonna have to go
Right.
through
No,
the
I-
chair,
I-
one at a time, please.
You know, I,
Mr. Vos has the floor right now.
And that's all I just wanted to see if there was other incidents of, with Mr. Hester, that's all.
that was
Thank
it,
you.
just that one time.
Okay, you and then Mr. Bertheum, go ahead.
I'll ask the same question. Can you recall, did he have any sort of a leash on or a chain or anything? So this dog is just free in the yard? Okay, thank you.
Mr. Bertheum.
So this was last summer or when?
Last summer, yeah, not this summer, last summer.
Have you ever had any other complaints from any other carriers?
No.
That's all.
Okay. Any other questions for Mr. Hester? If not, we'll ask the gentleman come forward. Yes, please.
First, I fully appreciate your position. Tough decision to make based upon the fact that you want to take the life of an animal that is a very loved animal. And he is, as people have portrayed him, in a very negative light. That's not the light that I know this dog in. We took him on vacation last year. He was for 2 weeks in a very public space. No issues. He minds this man very well, and everyone else, including me, and I don't own him. Let me keep my wits about me here. He's big, he's lovable, yep. He's intimidating, he can be. I believe that the incident with the young lady was a result of him being excited, jumped up, and did catch her in the lip. That's the scenario that I've been given. I'm not sure what the reality is, I wasn't there. But he lives with 2 little tiny chihuahuas, and those chihuahuas, he thinks he's a lap dog, so therefore he is looking for attention and love. And that's all he is. He's just a lovable big mutt. He lives with 2 kids, 6 and 8, just as Quentin has said. Teens, friends. The young man that let him out when, on one of these occasions, came in to try and share some of his stories. I told him, just be quiet. There's a lot of scenario going on here that he's not aware of. You're saying 3 times the gentleman in the neighborhood that has stated that he was bitten chose not to come forward because he knows the dog. He knows it was an issue that occurred between him and the animal. He acted in a manner that created the problem. So he chose not to file a complaint. And that's Peter, I believe his first name is. He was confined for 10 days to ensure that his credentials are up to speed. He's right there. Deadly dogs? He's not a deadly dog. He's not going to attack anybody. You put a pit bull out there, you put a Rottweiler or any of those other animals that are much more aggressive. This is a big, lovable mutt. All he wants is attention and caring and loving, and he shares that with the world around him. An aggressive manner, maybe, because he thinks he's a little puppy. He wants to sit in your lap, just like the little chihuahuas. And he will do anything that you suggest to manage him in a better manner. Euthanization, not a good choice in any way, shape, or manner. Those are my 2 cents.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions for the gentleman? There being none, the other gentleman that would like to speak? Did you still want to
Do
speak?
you really want to?
Tyler Olson, 8 Patton Street. I swear to tell the truth, nothing but.
Thank you.
All I can say about Cooper is that he's a very defensive dog because of a reason we've managed him since he was young. He's not vicious, he's not mean, and all these attacks, they were nothing like vicious going at him. He's excited, like they said. And on top of that, he never goes at it. It's like real quick and he's done because he knows that he shouldn't have been doing that. And another thing, we've learned from all these things, and nothing has happened since any of this, because I believe that a lot of these attacks were partially our faults, mostly our faults. And we now have made a lot of changes, like he said. He doesn't leave the yard. He doesn't go out. He doesn't do anything. because we don't want even to take the risk of him hurting another human. We're not those type of people. We don't want to see people get hurt either. He's a good dog, and like they said, there's been people in and out of my house. He's loving to all of them. I've had 3 dogs in my life. I've never had a dog that loved me more than that dog, has loved others more than that dog. These are just some spur of the moment things that shouldn't happen, and they won't happen.
Thank you. The thing, I just want to say one thing. I can understand where you're coming from as owners of a dog, and I think most of us have had dogs, and we know that they become part of the family. And there's one thing that you said that I can totally agree with when you said that whatever happened here was your fault. Okay, it wasn't the dog. You consider the dog a loving animal, someone who you've grown up with and you love very dearly. And it wasn't the dog's fault, it was your fault. Well, that's an important statement, because you people are the ones that have to control that dog, because if you don't, someone's going to seriously get hurt. And I think it's incumbent upon you to prove to this board that if we choose to give you another shot at keeping this dog, that you agree to certain stipulations. Are you willing to do that if this board goes that way?
Absolutely.
Okay. I'm going to ask the dog officer to come forward and give a recommendation. You've heard all the testimony. We would like to hear your recommendation at this point.
Okay, I will say that I have been inquiring in the neighborhood to ask if the dog has been loose since the last incident with Peggy. And one of the volunteers that works at the kennel lives right around the corner from there, and he has not seen the dog out loose since that time. I don't believe the mail carrier has either. You haven't seen him loose since then. And we're not here because to punish anybody or to punish the dog or anything like that. We just want to keep other people safe, that's all. So the recommendation would be, and we have to go according to the new laws in Massachusetts. There are 7 things that you could possibly do if the board deems the dog a dangerous dog. And what we're recommending is that, number 1, that the dog shall be humanely restrained, provided, however, that no order shall provide that a dog deemed dangerous be chained, tethered, or otherwise tied to any inanimate object, including but not limited to a tree, post, or building. So in other words, the dog can't just be tied out somewhere, because then somebody could walk up to him, you know. But it has to be humanely restrained. That when removed from the premises of the owner or the premises of the person keeping the dog shall be securely and humanely muzzled and restrained with a chain or other tethering device having a minimal tensile strength of 300 pounds and not exceeding 3 feet in length. That the owner or keeper of the dog shall provide to the licensing authority or animal control officer or such other entity identified in the order information by which such dog may be identified throughout his lifetime, including but not limited to photographs, videos, veterinary exam, tattooing, or microchip implantation, or a combination of such methods of identification. And I think what we were probably thinking about is a photograph and having a microchip put in. Does he already have one?
No.
No? And that was that.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to attempt to put a motion on the floor, and the board can act accordingly.
Chair.
Yes, you have a question?
Yes, I do. What does a microchip do?
What that does is just lets us always be able to identify that dog. So if he moved the dog to another town or something like that, or, you know, it got away from his sister, if it was staying at the sister's, we would know who that dog is. Because if they don't follow all the recommendations or the orders of the board, you know, there's consequences to that. So this allows us to know that this is indeed this dog. And you can't change that. You can't, you know, change it. It's embedded in them.
Does that answer your question?
Thank you.
Okay. I'm going to make a motion. I move that this dog be deemed a dangerous dog and the following be strictly adhered to. 1, that the dog shall be humanely restrained, provided, however, that no order shall provide that a dog deemed dangerous be chained, tethered, or otherwise tied to any inanimate object, including, but not limited to, a tree, post, or building. 2, when removed from the premises of the owner or the premises of the person keeping the dog shall be securely and humanely muzzled and restrained with a chain or other tethering device having a minimal tensile strength of 300 pounds and not exceed 3 feet in length. And 3, the owner or keeper of the dog shall provide to the licensing authority or animal control officer or such other entity identified in this order information by which such dog may be identified throughout its lifetime, including but not limited to photographs and microchip implants or a combination of such methods of identification. That's the motion on the floor, and it basically reflects what the animal control officer has recommended.
I'll second it for discussion.
Been seconded for discussion. Mr. Vos.
John, I feel as though this dog needs to be fenced in. The motion didn't include a fence. And when I say fence in, I don't mean electric fence, because I know with the big dogs, they get a full head of steam. That electric fence don't mean nothing to a lot of these big dogs. I know my dog, we had it set on low. We set it on medium because it was I think it was a chicken that was running around. He flew right, and he went right through it, and it meant nothing to him, so I turned up to high. That stopped him, okay? But the difference is my dog doesn't have a violent background. And I know you disagree, but we have 3 people here that are saying that it does, and my neck is on the line. This whole board's neck on the line. I'm not going to support any motion that doesn't include a fence in a nicely constructed fence, at least 4 feet tall.
They do already have a fence there, a fence.
I'm talking about any entrance or exit leaving this home needs, in my opinion, needs to be fenced in, because accidents happen. I understand that. I don't want to see a dog die, but I don't want to see a young child die. I don't want to see a child maimed. I don't want to see a dog get run over by a car. I'm in support of letting this dog live, but I'm not supporting it without a fence, a chain link fence at least,
Around the front yard and. the front
around
door.
any entrance or exit to this home.
Front yard.
Because
The
you already
backyard is
have the
already-
back fenced
yes.
in, but
If that dog goes out that door, I want a second line of defense.
Right.
I don't, and I
Absolutely.
just think it's completely necessary. I don't see how we could possibly leave here today without having a fence around these exits. I just don't. I wouldn't support anything other than that.
Are you amenable to such a request?
Yes.
Okay. Any other questions?
Uh,
Yes, Mr. Mahota.
Honestly, with seeing the past, like, you've had the dog Lucky that there was complaints against, and there's been 3 incidences where something's happened here, and you continue to say that nothing has happened, the dog isn't aggressive, but we have people saying that dog was aggressive. I would like to see the dog move to a different home, to somebody who can handle a dog better, and to somebody who will have a better training background with a dog who is very protective, and that takes, you have to be trained with how to handle a dog that is very protective like that, or it can be dangerous like it has been. I would feel more comfortable if it was either putting into an adoption home, or if there was somebody we could find that is better equipped and trained to handle a dog such as this.
You may respond.
Thank you. You think anyone on this planet can control that dog better than me? I'm his father. I've had him since he was 3 weeks old. You can't put him in another spot and expect anyone else to control him. The best thing for him is to stay with me. I'm going to fence in the front yard. I've put in strict discipline since these incidents have happened. I've thrown him down, and I've been borderline mean. But I have taught him, and he has calmed down a lot. And no one, you can't just send him to another person. He won't respect them, and he won't listen to them. You don't know that.
That has been
I am
done
the
in
best
past.
option of his.
With the dog being as young as he is, there is plenty of time for him to be retrained. And
I don't
being
agree.
aggressive to a dog, to discipline a dog, isn't the best way to. And that's another reason why
own
they
dogs?
can be aggressive. Do I own dogs? Yes, I do. I have a pit bull, and my father is a German Shepherd. So, and my pit bull, like you had said, is very aggressive dogs. They're not. It's all about how they're raised, how they're treated. My dog is a lap. He thinks he's a lap dog. He loves everybody, and there has been no mean streak in him at all. And everybody, you know, they always want to judge pit bulls, Rottweilers, German Shepherds, and
They got a bad rap.
to judge a dog by what breed they are is wrong.
I agree.
And it's all about how you own them, how you train them, and how you treat them. And there has been, and you know, there's a list of pit bulls who have been, you know, whether they're in fighting, you know, and then they've been brought to new homes, they've been reestablished in the home, they've been trained again, and they have been completely changed as to what the dog they used to be. And that is possible. That happens all the time. And so if, you know, that would be my suggestion. And if that's not, you know, then on the other hand of that, then I would want to believe that you would want to go and educate yourself on how to handle a dog a little bit better, at the least.
I have.
Okay, I just want to add one thing, because it's a follow-up to what the suggestion here is. I just want to inform the board that, and I know many of you weren't here when we had dog complaints in the past. Now, the laws have changed substantially over the past couple of years, and I'm sure that the animal control officer would attest to that. In years past, we used to, when we had situations like this, we would order the dog sent out of town, sent on a farm. You do whatever you have to do to get him out of this town. We don't want him. By law now, we cannot do that. It's against the law. We can't ask that dog be put with someone else. We can't do it. That's against the law now.
Okay.
Just so you know.
All right.
Okay? Yes.
I agree with much of what Selectman Mahoda had to say. I do believe that in most cases, I'm not gonna say in all cases, because I'm not a dog professional, but in my, you know, background as a dog owner, that the dog is only as good as its owner. People say he's a stupid dog. No, there's no stupid dogs. No one dog is smarter than the other dog for the most part. There's certainly more intelligent breeds. But I think a good concession here might be to keep the dog at home for Mr. Burnett, is it?
Yes.
To do, as part of this agreement, to go into a comprehensive training with his dog. And we need to have some type of follow-up to make sure it's happened, and maybe even monitor that would be my, something along the lines, and that you have the dog officer here, and maybe she could make some suggestions as to that, because do you think that would be useful? Do you think that's
I would definitely think it would
certainly
be
necessary? Because we need to take every possible precaution to make sure this doesn't happen again. And
I agree.
I hear what he's saying, and throwing the dog down, that just makes the dog more aggressive. I'm sorry. I've seen it in the past. I've seen people take calm dogs and whip them down, and now they're looking at you're being aggressive towards them. That's not. I think most dog owners know that, and that's why I believe you need. Don't get me wrong. I don't think you're a bad person. I just don't think you know as much about dogs as you think you do. So that would be my suggestion, and I would look for direction from the dog officer as to how that may be implemented.
Mr. Lamarche.
If I may, that sounds all well and good, but I'm looking at the law here, and I'm wondering, is that something within our jurisdiction to be able to, I mean, we're asking the homeowner to take on the fence, and I am 100% for that. But, training, I don't know, is that within our privy? I would have to, because I'm looking through this,
Understanding
Cal.
of this new law, that we can order one or more of the following, and that's it, I think. That's my understanding of it. So it says nothing about training in here.
Right.
And in the confined to the premises of such keeper, as far as fencing goes, it says that shall mean securely confined indoors or confined outdoors in a securely enclosed and locked pen or dog run area upon the premise of the owner or keeper, provided further that such pen or dog run shall have a secure roof And if such enclosure has no floor secured to the sides thereof, the side shall be embedded into the ground not less than 2 feet. And provided further that within the confines of such pen or dog run, a doghouse or proper shelter from the elements shall be provided to protect such dog. So to order a fenced-in area, it has to have a roof, it has to have a floor, or the fencing has to go 2 feet into the ground.
What about, well, the dog lives in the house. He'll only be outside for a few minutes at a time. We gotta get a roof and everything. We can't just fence in the front yard.
Well, that's what I'm saying, that's what this law says.
The fence would have to go into the ground so he can't
Yes, I
dig out.
understand that, but is he gonna need a
But you're
full
gonna
roof
provide
over-
shelter, you're providing shelter
By the house.
in the house.
And a dog house outside, if you're putting the dog outside, it should have some kind of shelter out
Right,
there.
it's not saying that the whole enclosure needs to be fenced, a roof on it.
No, my interpretation, and this is just my take on it, I think that if you're going to have a run, it has to be a section of it covered. Is that correct?
This is what I'm reading here, that if it says, such pen or dog run shall have a secure roof, and if it has no floor, the sides must be embedded into the ground not less than 2 feet.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, so you really don't need a roof if you,
Right.
if you embed the run. So rather than, fence the whole yard 2 feet down, it would be to your advantage to do a run, which is a lot smaller than fencing in the whole yard. And if you want the dog to go outside, you put him in the run, and then bring him in the house. Yes.
Or just a smaller fenced-in area. My concern is dog runs out
He
the
gets
front.
out the front
Guy
door.
runs out the
Front
front door.
door.
I'm not asking that you fence in your whole yard, but if your dog goes out your front door, second line of protection, maybe a 10 by 10 fencing area that this dog cannot get around, crawl under, jump over, the whole 9 yards. That's,
Yes.
Especially where if you do have a lot of kids going in and out. I know when my daughter was 5 and 6 years old, she used to open the door and let the dogs out sometimes. So
Yeah,
if your
the kids even, they all know better than that now. They're all scared for him.
Any other, yes, Mr. Lemage?
I know, I agree with Mike. I'm personally just looking for the dog to be contained. I'm not looking to see 2 feet of the fence in the ground, a roof over it or anything. You got a fence in the backyard, as long as you can't get out of there. You have front door, back door, whatever that you have that fenced in, so if that dog gets free, you have that fence as protection. That's gonna protect this guy coming down the street, hopefully. And then we'll handle it from there if it doesn't. But that, to me, we can't send the dog anywhere else. I don't see, I see this as a good step in the right direction. Euthanization is definitely not on my mind at all. So, you won't hear that from me. Thank you.
All right, but getting back with that section of the law, when we're talking confinement, to me, this looks very specific, because under section 559, I and double I, okay, it says that the dog shall be humanely restrained, provided, however, that no order shall provide that a dog deemed dangerous be chained, tethered, or otherwise tied to any inanimate object, but not limited to tree, post, bump. Then it goes on to 2. That dog shall be confined to the premises of the keeper of such dog, provided, however, that confined, and it's in parentheses, shall mean, doesn't say may mean, it says shall mean securely confined indoors or confined outdoors in a securely enclosed and locked pen or dog run area upon the premises of the owner or keeper, provided further that such pen or dog run not may, but shall have a secure roof, and if such enclosure has no floor, secure to the sides thereof, the sides shall be embedded into the ground not less than 2 feet, and provided further that within the confines of such pen or dog run, a dog house or proper shelter from the elements not may, but shall be provided to protect such dog. It's very specific in my mind that you have to meet The requirement is spelled out in the law. Yes.
John, it was never my, if he has a 10 by 10 area, or 8 by 8 area, or whatever, and it's just a second means of egress, I definitely want it down 2 feet. There again, I want the dog to live, but, you know, number one, our neck is on the line, and I do not want someone getting hurt here. I do, and I would be, the way I'm looking at this, if he puts a 10 by 10 area in there, now this is gonna be an area, this is not gonna be a playpen, this is just gonna be a second means of protection. This is no different than the guy putting another fence in his yard, as far as I'm concerned. We're just saying, this fence needs to be 2 feet below grade, because if you leave this dog out, he gets bored, he starts digging. Before you know it, he'll be under that fence in no time, if it's not, you know, some dogs within minutes. You know, he gets excited, that's what he's gonna do.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think it would be less costly if you went with a run rather than to do your whole yard and follow these specific guidelines. And they're not guidelines,
But a 10
they're
by-
rules.
A 10 by 10 area, it's.
That's fine.
Yeah.
It does, because it doesn't specify how big of an area it has to be.
A run, you would say like what, maybe 7, 8 feet wide by however long, fenced in?
Dog officer's better prepared to
Yeah,
answer
I mean, you
that.
can make it any size you want. They typically sell, you know, the chain link fence in sections of 10-foot, 8-foot or 10-foot sections. But if it doesn't have a solid floor and a roof, then you have to put it down in the
Well,
ground 2 feet.
we've been already
Right.
talking, we probably just gonna put the fence in the front yard. We'll probably just fence in the front
Go
yard,
down 2 feet.
yeah.
And you know, what, I guess I still have the floor, I don't wanna,
Go, no, go.
I don't want, and
Go right
and how
ahead.
quick would you be looking to do this? Because I think if you tell us a month, we're gonna say no, we're gonna say,
As soon as I can,
It-
within a couple weeks.
it's, as soon as you can is not, it's gonna need to be, in my opinion, as part of the motion, it need to be time certain, this fence needs to be installed by this day, and the ACO would be the one that would have to check on it to make sure that it's done. I don't wanna be as soon as I can, I don't wanna hear that, oh, I had to go on vacation, my, you know, we got sick, it has to be done by a certain time, in my opinion. It has to be time certain, it has to be by a certain date.
Can I volunteer something?
Yes, you may.
They have a totally enclosed pen, and they also have a cement slab in the back. It's one of the kennel-type environments. The only thing they'd have to do is add the sheltered piece in order to be compliant. That would take care of the situation in an immediate manner. But in addition to that, he's proposing he will totally enclose his entire perimeter.
What we're talking about
Go ahead.
is, I don't know how this Mr. Burnett's yard lays out. If he has a front door,
No,
and there's no
That's what
fence
he's
around that
talking
front
That's
door,
what he has.
no go.
he's proposing to do that.
Yeah, and I understand that.
He wants to do it.
I
It's a little
understand,
tougher to do in a short period of time.
you know what? It's a lot tougher to lose your dog.
Oh, and I'm in agreement with that.
It's a lot tougher to lose your dog. My dog, if someone told me that, I wouldn't be at work tomorrow. I'd be calling Joe Fence Contract. I'd say, Joe, I need this fence put up, pay credit cards, whatever the case may be. Borrow the money from someone. I don't care. This is my dog. If you love your dog as much as you say you do, you're gonna get this thing done quick. But I'm not gonna, if I drive by your house in 2 months and there's no fence there,
No, I wouldn't. do
not
that.
gonna be a good,
We're
not gonna be a good situation.
I'm just proposing an interim solution is that pen on the pad, and that he takes care of this in a very short period of time. You guys gotta define what that means.
Mr. Lamache.
See, so you got me confused a little bit because what Mike is talking about is if the dog would just accidentally get out front. So why does he have to put the fence 2 feet down on the ground? That's just I know what to say, but he's not confined to that area.
No,
That's
Right.
just a safety net.
Doesn't-
Two separate,
That's just a safety net. What this gentleman back there is proposing is that they got a spot back there that's already a concrete area, that would be his pen.
that's
So that's his confined area, this is just a safety net. What I'm trying to do is be reasonable with the guy that he's gonna put a nice chain link fence up in the front. To put that thing 2 feet in the ground is gonna be a heck of a lot more buckos than just a regular nice fence. And that's just a security measure.
I don't think anybody
You know-
is saying that he has to do the front yard 2 feet.
What I'm
I
saying.
was understanding that's what I had to do.
Yeah, well,
This is,
thank you.
if I may, Mr. Chairman, if this is the, now, I don't know if Mr. Burnett is gonna leave his dog out in the front yard, and I have no way of knowing. I have to assume that he might. That's
true.
He may do this. He may leave his dog out, and he don't, like, you know what? I don't not wanna leave any stone unturned here. I wanna make every precaution that we can possibly make, and I think that's,
Let me see if
and I understand there's very specific requirements, but we can interpret these.
Okay, the specific requirements, let me see if I can help clarify this, and if I can't, jump in. In order to meet the requirements, the area that the previous gentleman has indicated that has the slab and the fence, that's the area that we can make him conform to the law. The front yard fence, in my opinion, does not have to be 2 feet in the ground unless you're planning on keeping the dog out there. I think our intention here is to put that fence in the front yard as a buffer, so if the dog does get out of that front door, he can only go as far as that fence. He's not gonna be roaming in that front yard area. That's an unpermitted area. The only area that your dog is permitted is in that run area that is designated in that backyard. That specific area only. Is that any clearer?
John, I understand the law perfectly. I understand it, but what I'm saying is, based on what put us here in the first place. There's been 3 different situations, and Mr. Burnett has had every opportunity to make good on it. And I'm not trying to pick on you, I'm trying to make sure that we do everything we can. I don't know. I don't know if he's gonna put his dog out in the front. I don't know if he's gonna use his front yard as a pen. I don't know, John.
That can be a stipulation. That front area is not a designated area for you to let your dog out. It's only a buffer, so that if he gets out of that front door when somebody opens it, that he's not gonna dash out after
He
somebody.
won't get by the fence.
The fence will
Someone
stop.
will be on his
So-
That's
heels.
all the fence is for.
And I understand that. I'm very leery, that's all. I just wanna make,
Mr. Berthew.
Like he's saying though, let's say you're not home, and a teenager opens the door, he goes out front, the teenager can't get him back in the house. He could dig, so at least put it down somewhat.
They can get him back in the house. It'll be
Never
down
know.
enough. If you want the 2 feet, I will.
Okay. Okay, one at a time. Through the chair, please. If you want to address the board, please go through the chair. Go ahead, I'll recognize you.
He's very easy to control. He listens to everyone that lives in the house, all my friends. He comes on voice command and never had a problem with that. Easiest dog. Will go exactly like a dog, too.
Okay. Any other comments, questions, concerns? Okay, I think it might be a good idea to continue this hearing, to allow us to, first I'm gonna ask, is the board in agreement that we do not want to euthanize the dog? That we have to determine first.
make a motion, that we don't euthanize the dog.
And I'll
Okay?
second
We
it.
have a motion that's been moved and seconded that we do not euthanize the dog. I'll call for the vote.
Yes.
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 Yes, okay, 5 in the affirmative, we do not want to euthanize the dog. We have gathered enough information, I think, here this evening, okay, amongst the 5 members of the Board of Selectmen, dog officer, and yourself, that we basically have a general idea of what we want to include in our disposition. So why don't we continue this to our next meeting, and by then, we will have hammered out what we want in that agreement, and we will finalize it at the next, at the continuation of this hearing. Is that acceptable by the board? Yes.
It's acceptable to me, but Mr. Burnett, God help you if something happens between now and then. I mean, please, don't let your dog out. Don't let your
Okay,
dog.
we'll be,
He will
we'll
not
be
be
meeting in 2 weeks. Yes,
You might wanna get the fence, because we're not gonna euthanize him, so the dog will be yours, so you might wanna put the fence in. See how it's gonna
ASAP.
go. Yep. And also, if you go into the SUV, whatever, always get him out with the leash.
Oh, yeah,
Leash.
ever since
And the muzzle.
ever since that
muzzle.
time,
And a muzzle.
leash and muzzle.
Yeah.
And maybe,
Yes,
Just while the mail carriers are here, could I ask them whether they'd feel comfortable with the fence or not?
sure.
If there was a fence in the front yard, what's your opinion on? Would you feel more comfortable? Yeah.
Typically, what we tell our carriers is that there's a fence, of course, the box would have to be in front of the fence, of course, that anytime the dogs will jump on the fence and bite you if they're big enough. And it's happened many, many, many times. It's not unusual. Our carrier's not even allowed to go near the customer if they're coming out, the dog's anywhere near. The dog's out, period. So it shouldn't be a problem for us as long as our box is plenty away from the fence. And assuming the dog is not using the front yard,
Right.
which is what we're saying here, right, then that wouldn't be a problem for us.
So if the dog is in that area, you're not going near that place. Not even
That
gonna,
dog is scary. We're not even gonna go over there anyway.
right,
As long as
okay,
he can't get out of the fence, he ain't getting mail that day, we're
Right.
going to the next house.
okay,
I can safely deliver the mail.
okay, cool.
Okay, is that acceptable with the board? So,
Yep.
so I'm going to entertain a motion that we continue this to, the next meeting date would be the 23rd. And what do we have on our agenda, Madam Clerk?
We have a presentation of a citation, which should only take about 5 minutes. We have Cable Advisory Committee recommendation, and I don't know what time that is set for yet. The manager would know.
We hadn't set a time yet.
Okay,
Just up to the board, which do they want to do first?
right.
Well, let's get this out of the way first,
Right.
since
Okay,
it's a
so
continuation. So
7:10
7:10,
on the 23rd.
okay, we will continue this 7:10 on the 23rd. And that meeting, we will have spelled out what would be part of the conditions in keeping the dog.
Okay, so,
And if you don't go along with the conditions,
well, I was gonna start
then, you know,
installing the
we gotta
fence and
take
everything
alternative
before
back.
2 weeks.
Now's the time to do it. You
Take
got-
pictures of it.
You got 2
Go in
weeks,
the ground, take pictures.
because you know that that's gonna be a part of it, so, yes.
Mr. Chairman, can we have someone do some research as to whether or not we require training? If we can require training, maybe talk to the AG or the, get legal counsel
Yeah,
to
we'll
look
get
into
counsel
it
to look
and
into
see
it.
if we can
Yeah.
possibly make that as, you know, part of the requirement, because I think it's a necessary piece in this scenario.
That's fine. And these are the things that we will include in our disposition at that time.
And these laws are very new, and they haven't really been
Tested.
yeah.
But it's clear that the law, I read it quickly, this is not a nuisance dog, this is a dangerous
It's
dog.
a dangerous dog.
So the board has made that
We
determination.
made that clear, that it's a dangerous dog, and we're proceeding in that respect.
Okay.
So I have to have a motion that we continue this hearing to the 23rd.
Second,
And moved and seconded. Any comments, questions, discussion? There being none, I'll call for the vote.
yes.
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 Yes. I declare this meeting adjourned until the 23rd at 7:10 PM.
7:10 to 23rd.
Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, it's difficult. It's difficult, because it's,
Don't know that he's not gonna do that yet, so.
Right.
I've seen dogs underneath the fence.
what kind of dog is it? Is it a pit bull?
No.
Is it just a mutt?
It's a 100-pound dog. I agree with you, though, training.
It's a big dog.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know,
I mean, you know, and he says like they have the kennel in the back, but obviously it doesn't work because
No.
they have it now, and these problems have still occurred. I mean,
Right.
you know, something else in addition to that kennel has to be done.
Well, that was a little bit longer than we thought.
You know,
okay, the next item on the agenda will be the manager's report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Town Manager's Report for July 9th. We have the resignation of a police officer. Officer Daniel J. Carley has indicated to Chief Hassett in a letter written June 28th, his resignation from the Oxford Police Force. I suggest the board vote to allow Chairman Saad to sign the absence and termination Form 56 for civil service. Pleasure of the board.
I'll entertain a motion.
So moved,
Second?
Moved and seconded, discussion. There being none, I'll call for the vote.
yes.
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 Yes. 5 in the affirmative, motion carries.
We have a request, an application from the VFW, Post 5663, 20 Federal Hill Road, for a special pouring license on Saturday, August 17th, 2013, in conjunction with its chicken barbecue, to be held in the outside parking lot. Pleasure of the board.
Okay, this is a reoccurring thing. It happens every August. I'll entertain a motion that we accept.
So moved.
And second?
Moved and seconded, discussion. There being none, call for the vote.
Yes.
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 Yes, 5 in the affirmative, motion carries.
We have a request, the board vote to approve the meeting minutes of
You guys
April
weren't here.
23rd, 2013. All members who were members at that time were present. Pleasure of the board.
I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second?
Moved and seconded, discussion. There being none, I'll call for the vote.
Yes.
Yes.
Abstain?
Abstain.
Abstain.
Abstain. Yes. 3 in the affirmative, 2 abstentions, motion carries.
Thank you. The board's in receipt of a memorandum from Rhonda Hool, our Human Resources Assistant, dated June 26, 2013. Ms. Hool has made some minor revisions to the town's sexual harassment policy for your consideration and approval. The memo outlines them. There's some
Saying that the
minor changes that are more
That's how you know.
to do with current technology and attitude. For example, on page 2, they changed the term sexual preference to sexual orientation. Also on page 2, she's added social websites, including but not limited to Facebook and Twitter. There's a lot of them now. My email address and office hours are added. I'm the go-to person in the event of a sexual harassment complaint. On page 3, Ms. Hool is made the alternate sexual harassment grievance officer. It used to be Donna Folio. And then on page 4, there was a paragraph that was rewritten just for editorial reasons. It was awkward before. But it says the same thing now, only better. And also on page 4, she's removed the addresses for the Mass Commission Against Discrimination and the EEOC. What's that? Executive? No, I don't know what it is. Huh?
Equal opportunity.
Oh, equal opportunity, oh, okay. And then they're listed by attachment rather than in the body of the thing, so as they open new offices, we can make those changes. Pleasure of the board to approve the modest modifications to our sexual harassment policy.
I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second?
Moved and seconded, discussion. There being none, call for the vote.
Yes.
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 Yes, 5 in the affirmative, motion carries.
The revocation of a Class 2 license, we did have scheduled for July 23rd, a hearing on the revocation of a Class 2 license at the BP station, 102 Main Street. However, the former tenant, Mr. Mansour, has returned his Class 2 license to the office of the Board of Selectmen. This clears the way for the new tenant, Mr. Rimi Ramadan, to obtain his Class 2 license. The public hearing for the revocation was, as I stated earlier, on July 23rd. It's no longer needed. We have not advertised it, so we're good to go with Mr. Ramadan. Well, since the license has been returned, I suggest the board cancel the public hearing and void the license. Pleasure of the board.
Entertain a motion to cancel the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, discussion. There being none, call for the vote.
Yes.
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 Excuse me, abstain.
Yes, let the record show 4 in the affirmative, 1 abstention, motion carries.
Oh, God.
The Board of Selectmen has received an invitation from the Webster Dudley Oxford Chamber of Commerce to share its booth at the Oxford 300th celebration. If you're interested, let your clerk know. We'll contact Eleanor. And reminders, big reminder,
I'll hang.
as if nobody knows, this weekend, we're going to celebrate the 300th anniversary of the incorporation of the town of Oxford. It's Saturday and Sunday event, July 13th and 14th. Saturday's events begin at 9 in the morning, end at 11 p.m. Sunday's events begin at 12 noon with the parade that starts at the Oxford High School, and it'll extend for a couple of hours, I'm told, maybe 3, all the way down to the American Legion. The 2-day celebration offers something for everyone: children's events, musicians, classic car show, craft fair, rock climbing wall, just to name a few rather. This document is available everywhere in town, and it tells you the exact time of each event on Saturday, which you're looking at now, and Sunday. Check this out, and you can make your plans appropriately. However, can you see that? This is, Main Street will be closed. Main Street will be closed from up north, just south of the Congregational Church, to the driveway at the south side of the town hall. Everything will be closed. There's parking available, different parking for different folks. Some of the folks, the vendors have parking, public safety people have parking. Handicap parking will be at the senior center parking lot, which is close to all of the activities. There's some limited public parking available at the community center. However, there's also parking available to the north at Greenbrier with a shuttle bus to the event, and at the Chafee School in the south with a shuttle bus to the event. On Sunday, Main Street will be closed for access beginning at 11:30, and it'll probably reopen once the parade's done, of course, at 3 p.m. or so. And the extent of closure is from Old Worcester Road, which is the access point just opposite Greenbrier, down to Rite Aid in the south part of town. Police advise us that bags and backpacks are subject to search. However, adult beverages are available, will be available at the site and must be consumed on the site in the fenced-in area. I thought I said something wrong. I guess I didn't. Near the library at Sigourney Street. On behalf of the town, I wish to thank all of the sponsors of the event, the town boards and departments. A lot of work has gone into this, and especially the hard work and selfless dedication of the Tercentenary Committee to bring about this celebration. This is a big deal. This is a very big deal, and it promises to be a very enjoyable and hopefully a safe celebration. So we hope all can join us. Thank you. That's the end of my report.
Selectmen's requests. Mr. Lamage?
Thank you. Joe, it just so happens I had a lady I was talking to about the BP station on 109 Main Street, and she said to me that she thought she saw a car pumping gas there, and I said, that can't be. I said, those are tagged. I said, in fact, I told her, I said, you sure wasn't a truck? Because I've seen a hazmat truck there, presumably cleaning out the tanks. I said, that's all I can think of why a hazmat would be there. But those still, I told her, I said, it's closed, they're tagged, there's no way they can be pumping gas. And that's
They
what I
were
told her.
tagged. I know he paid. Did he pay Ed? I thought he paid Ed for the
Well, that's
overdue. Huh?
I don't know. I don't know.
Okay, that'd be my office.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But somebody paid the overdue. I'll check on that. I thought they were locked up.
yeah, I know that's what you told us. So
Yeah.
that's what I told her. I said, it can't be. I said, so thank you for that. And talking about the Tercentennial, I know it's a lot of planning's gone in. I know Selectman Vos, and his co-chair, Alan Hammond, have done a lot of work with all the other volunteers, and I think all those volunteers deserve a great amount of credit. They've done a great job. I'm sure it's going to go off good. Hopefully weather will be good. But I'd also like to thank a lot of the business people in this town, because I know with the parade issue, with parking and things, they have really stepped up to the plate. they're doing things for us, helping us out, and they're not looking for anything, they're just helping. And without their help, we couldn't do this. So I think just not only the residents should be aware of the great amount of people that have put a tremendous effort, but the various businesses in town. I just want to say thank you, and that's all I have.
Mr. Vos?
I guess I'll just segue right in on, Joe, you took care of most of what I had to say about the event, and the
And
big,
hopefully I got it right.
yeah, most of it. You're a little off on a couple of things, but no. The big thing is the parking, because if you notice on Main Street, they have the info signs up. It says parking at Green Bar, parking at Chafee School,
Yeah.
and there's also parking at Joslin, behind, well, what used to
Yeah.
be Joslin School. There's gonna be parking over there, but the big component is the shuttle. There'll be 2 shuttles going back and forth, so, and there again, on Saturday, there's gonna be parking on Main Street all the way down. The thing that the police officers want to make sure is, people aren't going and parking in NJ Donuts parking lot, Cumberland Farms parking lot, American Legion parking lot, the businesses, because they still have to do business. And if you park there, you're probably going to get towed, and that's not going to be
That's
a
not
whole
nice.
hell of a lot of fun either. As Dennis said, there's been a whole bunch of people who have really, really come together. The committee, we're a small group, but, when I joined 3.5, 4 years ago, I never dreamed of what it actually took to put one of these celebrations on, and boy, it's quite a bit. And the volunteers that we have are fantastic. Now, these are all busy people. These aren't people that are sitting home waiting for something. These are all people who have families, jobs. Some of them have 2 jobs, and they've all put time aside to do countless fundraisers, and it's all come together here at the end. And like I said, it's been a great effort between the public sector. The town has been fantastic as well. Sean Dival, the police, fire, the whole 9 yards. Everyone here in this town hall has been fantastic. They've really gone out of the way to make it as easy as possible. And that's, really appreciated. So please, everyone come out this weekend. There's going to be tons of activities. We have some free activities that are going to be sponsored by the Tercentennial Committee. And so you can come out and you can actually do some things, and it's not going to cost you money. There's, we have a rock climbing wall. It's free of charge. We have what you call rock and race, and we actually get to race these race cars. It's a 30-foot long oval track, and you sit there and that's going to be free of charge. And there's a lot of children's activities. So if you have a child and you're looking for something to do to entertain them, come on down. The Joslin Park is just going to be a bunch of children's activities, plenty of children and adult entertainment at Joslin Park, as well as, here in the center of town, we're going to have a stage and we're going to have music all day, both days. Tons of food, and this is an excellent opportunity to come and support all your local nonprofits, all the church groups here, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts. There's 3 or 4 groups from the high school that are going to be selling things, providing services and things of that nature. So it's a great opportunity to entertain yourselves, but it's a great opportunity to support these local nonprofits. I think pretty much, one other thing. Joe had put up the map. If you go onto oxford300.com,
Thank you.
you can view that map. And there's also a link on there to our Facebook page, which has tons of information. People have been posting on that thing left and right. The thing's lighting up, and there's going to be a lot of people coming in. And as Joe had mentioned, there is going to be a limited amount of adult beverages, and it's just going to be strictly beer and wine, and it's going to be closely monitored. So it's not going to be a case where we're going to have people going up and down Main Street, but we're going to have a fenced-in area, and that's just for the people who want to have a beer. We're going to keep it under control, hopefully. And there's some other things. There's a car show on Saturday. We got a Civil War encampment both days, and that's down by the St. Roch's area. Craft fair both days, bunch of food booths. So please, everyone come out and enjoy it. It's a once in 300-year opportunity. Ain't gonna happen again. And that's all I have as far as that goes. One thing, Joe, I've been in touch with Dick Donay a couple times, and he's been very helpful as well on this. But on a different light, the gas conversion thing. This is something that I've been going back and forth with for over a year now. I've met with the gas company, came down, we walked all the buildings that are potential sites to be retrofitted, and they've given us some very good feedback as far as what they're gonna do and what we're gonna do. But there's some critical pieces of information that they still need, and I feel as though every winter that goes by, we're wasting money. I really do. I think, in speaking with people in town who have converted the gas, they're saving up to 50%. And I'm looking at savings like that. We can't wait any longer. Why should we wait any longer? If you could talk to Mr. Donay and just make sure he gets that information over to the gas company, so it may be a case where, it takes 2 or 3 years to do this, but I think every winter we don't do it, we're wasting money. I know the schools are realizing significant reductions in heating costs now that they're on gas, so, if it's good for them, let's do it. And
Good.
that's all I got. Thank you.
Mr. Bertheum, do you have anything on the selectmen's request?
Yes. On June 20th, I went to the Worcester County Selectmen's Association in Sturbridge. The next one's gonna be, I think, September 27th in Sterling. I also went last week to the Dudley Oxford Webster Chamber of Commerce, the Auburn Chamber of Commerce. And the next one's gonna be September 19th in J. Anthony's. And it was something I got on July 3rd, an email. Denise Marks, she requested to have, she was on One Old Depot Road. She requested that crews would be there because people speed right by Chafee School. So I called her up. She said that there was a cop there, but he showed up around 12 o'clock. She would like it at 9 o'clock and 3 o'clock if, a cruiser could be there, monitoring, just a couple of random times to see.
Well, school's in session.
Well, school's in session.
Yeah, we've been in contact with her. It's the legal speed limit for that old Depot Road is 30 miles per hour. And I had, because she wanted either a Go Children Slow or a speed limit sign. And Sean Dival drove it at 30 miles per hour.
I read the email.
Oh, you saw the email, and he said, "No, this is crazy. The road's not safe at that speed." So he's doing some monitoring to determine what is the proper speed limit. It might be 15, 20 miles per hour, and then he'll bring that to the board because without board action, 30 is what we can post legally. But if he has the backup, you can post it at 15 or 20, whatever is the proper speed. So that will be coming back to you, and she was satisfied with that. But as typically the case, we find that in neighborhoods where people have a complaint about speeding, it's the people from the neighborhood that are speeding.
Yep.
Is that it?
Thank you.
Again, I'd just like to thank everybody on the committee for what you're doing for the celebration this weekend. It's not going unnoticed, and I have a lot of people talking. They are excited about going, and I'm sure there will be a good turnout. So it will be appreciated, and everybody will enjoy it.
Okay. I just have a couple of comments. I know that Selectman Vos is going down to Carbuncle. I got a phone call from a resident next to Carbuncle that wanted me to go down and look at a weed problem they're having at Carbuncle. And I did go down, and I reported back to the manager, and I went up to the Board of Health as well, and they are working along with the state to get some answers. It's kind of premature right now, I believe.
They just, he's still waiting for a call back from the state.
Okay. But there was some concern about the weed itself. It has never been, that type of weed has never been seen in that area. So we're concerned about having it analyzed to make sure that, it's not toxic in any way and it won't affect the town beach. So as we hear more, I'm sure that the manager will keep us informed. The other thing is Sunday, I was invited to speak at the ecumenical service at the Congregational Church, who had invited all the religious denominations to take part in a ceremony honoring the 300 years of Oxford's birth. And it was quite interesting. Selectman Vos was there as well.
It was hot.
It was hot. It was hot. The church had no air conditioning. It was really hot. I was amazed because I got a little history lesson as well. It was nice learning how many religions, various religions that we have in this community. We probably have more than most communities in the area. I believe we had something like 13 different churches here in Oxford. And they all got up and gave a little background of their history and what part their religion played in the development in the history of Oxford. So it was very interesting. I'd like to give a shout out to the churches for doing that as part of an event for the 300th anniversary of the town. And finally, again, I would like to extend my gratitude and appreciation to Mr. Vos, and also to his co-chair, Alan Hammond, and to all the members of that committee who have done an outstanding job preparing for this event next weekend. I know how much work it is because I did it for a number of years, being the chairman of the Founders Day. It's a lot of work, and it doesn't stop until the day after the event. Believe me, you will be going
Oh,
210. It's going to be a long, hard weekend for the committee. So I wish you all the best. And again, everybody, come on, take part of it. This is your community. Help us celebrate this community. It's a good community to live and work. So come on out and join us. That's all I have. The next item on the agenda is discussion of the manager's employment agreement, and I'd ask that Attorney Moskis come forward, please. And I'd like to apologize to Attorney Moskis for running over. I know you were on the agenda for 7:30, and here it is an hour later, so.
Well, as I mentioned, Mr. Chairman, I'm here pro bono, my annual visit to the.
Oh, that's good to hear. Let's write that down. Let's watch and see if the bill,
I'll watch the bill, don't worry.
We have prepared, in accordance with our understanding, a contract for the town manager, which will be a new 3-year contract. And I would like, with your permission, to give to the board a copy of that.
Okay, what we're going to do is, once we get a copy of this, I'm going to ask that we go into executive session to discuss the contract, and I would ask that the manager, if you would, once we call for the executive session, if you would leave the room.
I'll leave the room.
And you have your cell phone with you?
I do.
And I have my cell phone, and I will call you,
Very good.
and you can come back up.
Okay.
Okay, I will entertain a motion under section 2 of the open meeting law.
So moved.
I'll second it.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Discussion? There being none, I'll call for the vote.
Yes.
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 Yes.